If you have debt, then you want to watch this video because I'm going to discuss how do you really go about paying down your debt fast. Stick around. Hey, I'm Mr. Maciek. Welcome to this channel. Please consider subscribing if you like investing in real estate, any kind of money-making opportunities, or want to fix your credit score or anything else related to money. So let's get into it. Basically, what we're talking about is how do you pay down your debts fast. So I'm going to give you a 4-step process on how to do this. But before I get into it, let me give you a few warnings that you really want to stay away from. The following are 4 ways that you do not want to pay down your debt fast. And you might be tempted to do them, but please do not. They usually lead to more trouble. So the first one is debt consolidation. This is very simple. Where basically they take all your different debts and they add up the amount, and then they give you a loan, close out all your accounts, and you pay on this new loan. Usually a lower interest rate than those 25, 6, 7% credit cards that you have. But what I don't like about this is that it closes all your credit lines. And this is going to negatively impact your credit score. Plus, you're just making one payment and you keep paying interest until it goes to the zero, if it ever goes to zero. What I also don't like is that they extend this out usually for a couple of years, and it's just not worth it. They kind of take the time frame that it would take you to pay off those credit cards, and they extend it, making it seem really attractive with a low payment, and a low interest rate, which is still above 10% for sure. So the second thing that you really should watch out for are debt settlement companies. And what those companies do is they take an upfront fee, and then they say, we're going to call your bank here and your credit card there, and we're going to negotiate, or do our best to negotiate this amount that you owe. For example, you might owe $7,000 on a credit card, and they're going to be willing to negotiate like half price, maybe $3,500 you will pay. The thing is, you usually have 30 days to pay that $3,500, and you have to pay them a couple grand just to do this for you. And most of the time, if you don't pay that off, that offer will not be offered to you again by that credit card company. So I don't recommend that. Don't go that route, please. The third one is about a 401k. Now, if you have a 401k, you can borrow against it. And I highly recommend you do not do this. There are penalties and fees, and there's a whole bunch of mess that can come up out of it. Best to keep your investment money as your investment money and your debt as your debt that you can pay down with our 4 techniques. Okay, so now the last thing that you should really stay away from are home equity lines of credit, HELOCs. So if your home has equity in it, you can go get a loan from a local bank or just a regular bank, and they're going to appraise it, and then they're going to lend you a certain dollar amount, and you only pay on what you actually borrow. It costs about $1,500 for all your closing costs and appraisal and all of that. And I don't recommend this, even though it sounds very appealing, and it is the most appealing out of all 4 of those that I just mentioned. However, I don't recommend it because you're paying down debt with debt. So that is not really a good strategy if it comes to getting yourself out of debt and also making sure you stay out of debt. And that has all to do with discipline. So let's get started on how do you pay down debt fast. So step number 1 that you should take is create a budget. When you do that, you have to make sure that your expenses are less than your income. It is imperative. And if your expenses are actually higher than your income, then you're in a negative cash flow position and you have to reduce your expenses. Number 1. Also, within the budget, try to make sure that your housing expense ratio is less than 33%. So if you make $3,000 a month, your housing, your rent, and your insurance on your home and all of that should be less than $1,000. 1/3. That is the absolute maximum. If you can get down to 20%, that would really help you. So creating a budget is not something that you just do and you perfect from day one. Realize that if you're not in the habit of creating a budget, give yourself some grace. Create the budget and follow it for a week. If you succeed, great. Give yourself a little reward, whatever that may be. Maybe it's going out and spending $25 on a meal or something like that. But then go to week number 2. And if you fail in week number 2, do not reward yourself. Just be honest and reset yourself and say, you know, I failed. I understand that. That does not mean I have failed the mission. It just means I failed this 1 week. So now reset and start over again and do your best to go for another week. One thing about budgeting is that you will get better over time, but you just have to stay consistent, meaning you have to want it and you have to do it to your best ability. Some days are better than others, so therefore be graceful on yourself. Do not judge yourself, just do the best you can. Okay, and that's step number 1. You need to create a budget with some surplus. You need to have a little bit of surplus to pay down your debt. So here's step number 2. No more debt. That's it. No more debt. You cannot use any more credit cards. Take your credit cards, cut them. What I did about 10 years ago or so, when I had too much credit card debt, is I took my credit cards, all of them. I had about 7 or 8. And I took a little container, like a food container, and I filled it with 1 inch of water and I froze it. Then I put a card down right in the middle. I added some water and I froze it. And then another one and I froze it. And I had this big block because I didn't want to cut them and I didn't want to throw them out. So I had this big block of all these layers of credit cards. I'll tell you, that worked amazing for me. I did not touch that block for probably about 9 months. And by that time, I had paid down so much of my credit card debt. I was in shock, in awe of how effective that was, because I'd have to go and melt all this ice. What a pain in the neck. Every time I would want to do it, it made me think twice. If you just keep your credit cards and any kind of things that you can use as debt in your wallet, it's really easy to just take it out. So make it hard to take it out. Or take it and bury it 4 feet down in the ground so that when you want it, you got to go dig that hole again, right? So no more debt. That is point number 2 in this how to pay down debt fast. Just do it. Okay, so step number 3 is all about attacking your debt. And how do you go attack your debt? Well, it's best illustrated on the whiteboard. So let's go over there. Okay, so the plan of attack. What do you need to do first? Well, first of all, let's go and list all of the different debts that you currently have. Okay, so here we are, all the debts that maybe you have. So what is the first thing to do is identify every debt that is under $1,000. First thing we do is we attack these. All the while, you are always making your minimum payment on every one of them. You do not stop doing that. Extremely important, okay? So make these payments, and now for this example, let's just say that after you budgeted, you have $50 per month to go towards paying down your debt. Obviously, it looks like it's going to take a long time. Here's what you do. You identify the lowest dollar amount for the under $1,000 debts. In this case, $150. And you make the minimum payment plus your budgeted amount for debt pay down, $50. 25 plus 50, you make a $75 payment. And you continue making the $75 payment on this $150 debt until you have paid it off. And after you've paid it off, you keep your $25 payment that you were making on it anyway, and you add it, and now you're gonna start paying down your second lowest, $350. So you have 25 plus 50, and you have $75 additional principal pay down you will be making towards credit card number 2. So now you are going to be paying $105 on this card, and you're going to be paying minimum payments on every other debt you have until you've paid it off. Now, what you're going to do is take your $105 that you have and add it towards the minimum payment on the third and last under $1,000 debt that you have. And you will be making a $180 payment on this $780 debt month after month until it's paid off. Now, what do? At this point in time, you're no longer dealing with the under $1,000 payments. You're now stepping up the game. You only have 3 left. And at this point, you're going to go and look at what is the highest interest rate. 6% right here. And this is the one you're going to attack. So what do? Same thing. You take your $180 additional payment that you have and you add it to your minimum payment. And now you're attacking this really strong. See this compounding effect? $380 on this $4,000 debt. I know that's still 11 months or so, but still, that is amazing to make such a large payment on one debt every month. So you do that until you have paid this off. You know what's next. What is the highest interest rate? 4%. And now you're going to go attack this one. $380. You are attacking it with $580. This is exciting, guys. $580, paying off $16,000. I know it's going to take a little while. I understand that. So you pay that one, pay that one, pay that one, and eventually you will pay it off. Eventually you will pay it off, and then you add your $580 to your $75, and your payment is $655 towards $2,000. It will be paid in no time, and you are debt-free. Why? Because you're following rule number 2. You are not using debt anymore. It is extremely important. To pay down your debt, you must stop using your debt. So do that, make sure, attack it, and now what is point number 4 on how to make all of this happen? Let's go back. Well, I hope you understood that whole plan of attack for all your debts, which leads me to point number 4, which is actually the glue of what gets this whole plan to work, and that's accountability. Very simple. Just find someone else who has the same goal as you of paying down their debt. And tell them what you're going to do. Have them tell you what they're going to do. And then have a regular time that you will call each other to make sure that you did what you were supposed to do. Should not be your spouse. This could be a different family member, but not someone within your household. So all you have to do is call them every Monday, every Friday, whatever you decided, and let them know, hey, I told you I would do this past week, and I want to just let you know I did it. And if you didn't, then please tell them you didn't. And their response should be, why not? They should grill you on it. Accountability. Or maybe if you don't do it, you got to go buy them lunch. And now you're falling even further behind in your goal. So make it worthwhile that you can either care about this person and you're going to keep them accountable, or you're going to lose something really valuable to you, whether it's $25 or whatever it is, if you don't do what you said you would do. Accountability is the glue. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching, but don't go anywhere yet. Watch this video. It's a credit hack, how to improve your credit score in 30 to 45 days, real quick and by a lot. Also, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.